This is how I do my eggs. So once I do them in an ice bath of water covering the eggs, I put them on high heat to get it to a boil, to melt the ice and get it to a boil. So melting down the ice bath of water over the eggs and getting it to a boil takes 5 to 10 minutes depending on the stove, if it's electric or if it's gas, etc. Once they get to a rapid boil, you turn the heat down by 1/4 to 1/3 and set a 12-minute timer. On an electric stove, you would put it to the approximate 9 o'clock position. On gas stoves, it varies. What you're shooting for is a soft, near boil of the water. So in this case of this stove, I need to turn it down just a little bit more. Just barely a bubble. I've had to adjust this downward considerably. Probably about 3/4 down. And this is what you're shooting for, is just a light movement of the water. A very soft boil, or light boil. I like to think of it as like a light current on a stream or a river versus rapids, which would be the equivalent of a hard boil. So we're a little over halfway, about halfway through the cooking process. As you can see, it's a very light, mild, or as I call it, soft boil. barely moving the water like a light current in a stream. I chose to use EB eggs because I like them. I think they're high quality, but this procedure, this process works with any eggs. And also remember, whenever you're cooking, especially if you have children or toddlers in the house, always turn your pan handle inward for safety. Because even if you don't have children in the house, it's quite easy to bump it and potentially knock it onto yourself and burn yourself otherwise. Okay, we have under 1 minute left on our timer. So you should go ahead and get your ice or crushed ice, or however you use it, prepared for your post-cooking ice bath. Okay, there's our 12-minute timer. So now what we'll do is we'll turn the heat off. We'll take our pan and carefully go over to the sink to dump off the hot water. We'll immediately fill the pan with cold water to slow and then stop the cooking process. So now I've cooled them some. I'm going to put ice over them and then finish filling it with cold water and leave it for approximately 3 minutes. So I normally don't do this, but I went on and set a 3-minute timer. I normally just do it off the cuff. Okay, it really should be a 2-minute timer, so I corrected that. And there's our 2-minute timer. So now you pour all the water and the ice off. And then you do this. Just shake them around crazy. For a half a minute or so. Then you put water back over them. This part about the water is, I do this optional, it's not required. And then you have eggs that basically slip out of the shell. Complete, didn't have to peel it at all. And they'll all do that. One hand. And it just falls right out of the shell completely. Look at that. Completely, without any problem, no peeling, no picking. You'll occasionally run into the one that's a pain in the butt to do, but for the most part, they all just fall right out of the shell, just like this. Most of the time, if I do 5 eggs, 2 or 3 of them are out of the shell by the time I finish shaking them. See it? Completely shelled with no issue. Watch. Look at that, just peel it off. Like that, it's done. So there are your eggs. And I personally like to drain the water off the eggshells and then compost them or use them in soil tomato plants especially like the eggshells. I think it's what, I forgot what's in it, that the vitamins that they decomposes in the soil that helps them be healthier. But that's it. One more thing. I don't know if I can do this one hand, but this is what the finished product looks like. The perfect egg. Brilliant yellow with no green around the edge, and it's not pale yolk wise.